What's up? Welcome back, everybody. It's Stephen Young here with Young Realty, and I am here today on this episode to show you the easiest way to invest in real estate. What's up, everybody? So get this. I was approached by a client saying, look, Steve, I want to get involved with real estate. I want to get investing, but there's so much information out there. I don't even know where to start. And guess what? I was in the same boat as you were back when I was 26 years old when I first started. And guess what? Back then, I thought I missed the boat on real estate. I was 26. I wanted to start investing when I was 18, but my parents said, you got to go to university and get an education before you get into that. But I already had the education. I'd picked up a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my favorite book by Robert Kiyosaki. I recommend it to absolutely everybody. And at the time, I said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to start investing in asset producing real estate. I want to just start right now when I'm 18. I don't want to wait. But, they said, no, university is key. You need an education. So I was a good boy. I went and got an education. I was 22. I graduated. I got an opportunity to play in the CFL. So I took that opportunity also. So long story short, by the time I was 26 years old, which, by the way, I was educated. I played pro sport. I thought I was on top of the world, but I was dead broke. But I wanted to still get involved with real estate. I just didn't know how to do it. So this is exactly how I got started, exactly how you should get started. It's actually the easiest way to get started in real estate investing. It's easier than house hacking. It's easier than being a landlord or subdivisions or land assemblies or developments or all these things are the Airbnbs nowadays. This is even easier and simpler. For me, when I got started, I was 26 years old. I was really lost. I didn't really know where to turn. I was broke. I was down on my luck. I didn't know what to do. I really didn't even know where to start. But I knew in my head I had to start somewhere. So I was a realtor at the time. By the time my pro career ended, till the time I was 26, I had gotten a real estate license. It's actually one of my past teammates said I should get into real estate via being a realtor. I said, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I don't know how to sell. I don't know anything about real estate, but why not? Let's give it a shot. So when I got involved, I started understanding how my local real estate market was working. And, I used to show clients properties all the time. I said, I really want to get involved with this stuff. And very early on, within the first month or so of getting involved with real estate, I bought a pre-construction condo. Now, hang on. If you're instantly saying, hey, that's not easy, or I don't want to do that, give it a second. Let me explain what I did. And it's why it's so easy even to this day. So back then, I was 26. I literally had no money. You can walk into any sales office, even today, right now, and sign up for a contract without any money, okay? Then you have 10 days, what you call a 10-day cooling down period. In most jurisdictions, it's 10 days, but there are jurisdictions that don't have 10 days. They're shorter, 5 days, sometimes longer. And you can make a decision within that 10 days whether to go ahead with it, figure out where you're going to get the money or whatever you're going to do. And that's exactly what I did. So I actually signed up for a property without having any money in my bank account, without the builder didn't ask me more information. Did I have money? Did I do anything like that? Because they knew the building was ready in a year or two from now. And they said, well, we'll just take you as the contract. You'll put your name on this and you can get to control that contract for free for 10 days. I said, this is a fantastic idea. The only problem was I had to figure out where to get $5,000 for the deposit within 10 days. And you're saying, wait a second, $5,000 seems like very small entry, especially in the Toronto real estate market. Well, back 18 years ago, that's kind of what it was. It was just you needed $5,000. But guess what? Today, 20 years later, most of the times you still only need $5,000 or $10,000 to get started, and you only need that within the first 10 days. Now, that being said, I didn't have the money. So where did I come up with the money? So I briefly mentioned before, if you don't know my background, I briefly played in the CFL as a professional football player for a few years. Part of their player organization, they actually have matching savings account. So part of my check each week would go into this small savings account, and that would grow over the time that I was there. So luck would have it, and by the time this contract was signed, I looked up my contract and it was in a mutual fund and over 3 years of savings, and they would match the payments. I think it was $500 a check, which they would match, which is basically $1,000 a check. And then whatever was built up over the 3 years, it was enough for the first deposit. And then I paid the balance within 30 days. So that's where I got the sort of bulk of money. It was for savings. So if you don't have that, if you didn't have the luxury of having a savings account or a mutual fund or something there in your background, there's a million different ways. And I still do this to this day. I partner up with a lot of clients who say, look, I don't have the credit, or I don't have the mortgage ability, or I don't have the debt ability, or not the cash on hand. So I'll partner up with the client sometimes on these pre-construction condos. I'll put up some money, they'll put up some money, and we'll go in and we'll go buy this pre-construction condo. So that's one way you can do it, no money down. But I don't recommend it because it's much easier to do than that. Excuse me. Nowadays in the Toronto real estate market, and there's a lot of jurisdictions going through the same thing. We're in a down cycle right now. Most builders are sitting on tremendous amounts of inventory. So they're giving these amazing incentives. So like, for example, there was just a building launch here. You come up with a $5,000 up front, and then you have 2 years to pay off the deposit. So it's a forced savings. You'd have to come up with $1,000 for the next 2 years, and then your deposit is paid for while the building is being built. Oh, by the way, that's the best part of pre-construction condominiums. Doesn't exist yet. The building does not exist. So what does that mean? You don't need a mortgage. You don't need cash flow. You don't need to pay maintenance fees or property taxes or anything. It doesn't exist. And you, as a seasoned veteran, now you purchase a property, you have a contract that you control for very little money, even if it's not your money. Okay. And from there, it's maybe it's a year or 2 away, or 3 years or 4 years, or however long it takes to build the building. You get the benefit of all that market appreciation. And that's exactly what happened to me. By the time my property was ready to go, I'll give you some backstory on the deposit structure. So it was $5,000 to buy it. And then within 30 days, I had to come up with another $5,000, which again, I already had in the savings for the past 3 years. And then the next deposit was 6 months. So I had to figure out within 6 months how to save another $10,000 for the second deposit. And then after that, it was 365 days. So it was another year out. So another 6 months after that point, another 10,000. But I just figured out how to make enough sales and save enough money for that deposit. So it was a forced savings account. Now backtrack some time. So from the time I put my name on for free, by the way, and you can do the exact same thing and go through the contracts and figure it out. Can you get the money? Can you not get the money? And then you can always back out. It doesn't cost you anything to back out either. This is why this is the easiest way to get into the real estate market if you're an investor, a newbie investor, or if you're just looking to add to your own portfolio. So it was about 1 year, and then I took occupancy. So then the building was ready to go. And then it was 1 year after that. So it was 2 full years before I even needed a mortgage. So by the time I occupied it, though, I then started paying a rent to the developer. But I could have rented it out at that point. I could have sold the property. There's so many things I could have done because guess what? I'm still in control of the contract. And guess what? For very little money down. So I'm controlling this massive asset. It was $230,000 when I bought it. $30,000 was the total deposit. So I'm controlling an asset of $230,000. I put $30,000 down over the course of an entire year. Okay. So I was controlling this asset. And by the time it was ready to go in 2 years, the property had already gone up in value to about $330,000, which was $100,000 over what was on my contract. So that was my money. Anything over and above that contract was what we call equity. So that was mine to keep. This is why this is the easiest strategy. So by the time the building was ready, let's say you still haven't earned enough money to either get a mortgage, you don't have a job, or maybe you went through a divorce or whatever happened, and life happens, and you say, look, I don't want the property anymore. I actually had people approach me, and I could have just assigned the property. I could have sold the property. I could have rented the property. I could have refinanced the property. There's so many options I had, but it all started because I put my name down on a piece of paper for free. It is the easiest strategy you can ever possibly do in real estate, which is why I'm always recommending it. A small little caveat to that, it's as easy as buying a stock on the stock market, even easier. So when it comes down, people are like, oh, I'm investing in a real estate investment trust, because all you got to do, you put $50 down or $100 down, you get one share, one stock. Here's the big difference why I don't recommend that strategy. Sure, it's cheaper. It's just as easy to do. However, you actually don't control the asset. That is not yours. If it goes up in value, you don't get that. You just get your $50, whatever that share is worth. It doesn't always go up with the value of the real estate. And so you couldn't rent it out. You can't go to the board of directors and say, hey, I want you to rent it for more money, or I want to refinance, or I want to pull it. It doesn't work like that. So that's why, to me, the easiest strategy, even in 2023, with the market cycles the way they are, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, because if you're buying pre-construction condos, you're just putting your name down on a piece of paper for free. And then for the next 2 or 3 years, the market will correct itself. The interest rates will come back down. The market is going to just excel. The prices are going to continue to go back up. They haven't fixed the problems of supply and demand. So all of these problems that we're going through right now are irrelevant. If you don't believe me, just listen to the 20,000 people who bought properties last year in a very bad cycle in pre-construction condos just in this city alone. Toronto has the most amount of cranes going on. It has the most condominium pre-sales in any jurisdiction in North America. The price is still relatively low compared to the worldwide scale if you compare Toronto to other major city centers around the world. So I'm not promoting it for you specifically, but if you're looking for the easiest strategy, like no cost, low cost, no headaches whatsoever, just get into pre-construction condominiums. It's the probably only thing I'm going to recommend if you're coming to me and say, I want an easy strategy. There's ways to make way more money in shorter periods of time, and there's way more money involved in like flipping, which is what I do most of my days. But at the end, but it's not easy. It's not for everybody. It's a full-time job. There's headaches involved. There's contractors and trades and city officials, and there's a lot involved when it comes to flipping. It's not for your beginner, newbie real estate investor. However, this is a strategy for absolutely everybody, for the easiest thing you could possibly do, and to force yourself to save money for an appreciating asset. For me, it's the best strategy. It's the easiest strategy. I want that strategy for you too. All the best.